mind, but the news was just announced that WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury. And it was also reported that the Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%. Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA.
WNBA just discovered the hard way that life without Caitlin Clark is like Spotify with no internet. Completely useless and a total flop. Playoff ratings fell quicker than your laptop dying on 2% during a Zoom call. Now the league is scrambling to figure out how to keep fans from dozing off. Did viewers actually vanish into another dimension, or did they just flip over to cornhole tournaments on ESPN3? Either way, this postseason meltdown is messier than a reality show finale.
Today, is there any chance that the WNBA, that Kathy Engelbert saw some of the ratings that I'm about to show you now and said, hey, Indiana Fever, can you do us a favor? Can you do us a solid? Can you just tease a Caitlin Clark return, kind of boost these up a little bit? Can you just dangle a Caitlin Clark return in front of the fans' faces, try to boost these ratings up a little bit? There was one matchup that this league can consistently rely on to produce massive viewership numbers.
This was supposed to be the year for the WNBA, the breakthrough moment, the big leap where the league finally leaves behind its underdog status and proves it belongs at the main table. Instead, it looks like the entire operation tripped over its own shoelaces, landed face first in a plate of nachos, and tried to convince everyone it was all part of the marketing strategy.
A shocker. Imagine my surprise. Just imagine my surprise when Uncle KC found out that the WNBA is struggling to maintain their ratings without Caitlin Clark. To make matters worse, and this is something I have definitely noticed in the last 3 or 4 weeks, especially since the All-Star game, the WNBA seems to be struggling to maintain interest.
Let's be real for a second. This WNBA season has been equal parts comedy and disaster. If you tuned in for basketball, you got a mix of star players going down injured, refs blowing calls like they're wearing sunglasses indoors, and a commissioner who treats athlete safety like it's an optional add-on. If you were in it for the drama, chances are you checked out the moment Caitlin Clark spent more time on the sidelines than on the floor, because defenders seem to think her ankles are community property. Every possession turns into a live crash test demo.
Think about Caitlin Clark. The operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport.
How was the attendance for Team USA in the Olympics? What would it have been like if Caitlin Clark was playing on that team? Remember the first game? Look at this right here. National broadcast viewership. What are we talking about here? 1,000, what is that? 1.219? Is that the number? And the game afterwards got 485,000. So the Fever and their game against the Minnesota Lynx was 1.219 million.
Things are grim when the highlight of the season isn't a buzzer beater, but fans speculating whether the league can even stay upright long enough to crown a champion. Spoiler, it's being held together by the flimsiest glue imaginable, basically the sports version of don't look too closely at this disaster.
NBA's black superstars should thank their lucky stars for the record ratings Caitlin Clark is detonating, even if new fans are mostly white fans. It doesn't matter what color eyeballs are. But the other day, I must admit, it hit me like Katie Bell Henderson telling me that's enough. I told myself it's not racist for me to like Caitlin.
And since we're already here, let's talk about the refereeing. This year's officials look like they got recruited straight from a mall food court during their lunch break. One's still working on a slice of greasy pizza while deciding whether that elbow was a flagrant. Another seems to think they're calling a roller derby, not professional basketball. As for consistency, forget it. One night a shove barely registers. Next night someone breathes too hard and suddenly they're ejected. If referees had their own stat sheet this season, it would read turnovers, 0, bad whistles, literally every possession.
The WNBA has a problem, and that problem is Caitlin Clark not playing in WNBA games. Now, what all does this affect? The ratings are plummeting. Guys, there's ratings for a couple of these games that are eye-poppingly.
Now onto injuries, because wow, this league currently looks more like an orthopedic surgeon's holiday wish list than a basketball season. Caitlin Clark has logged more recovery minutes than game time, mostly because defenders hit her like she owes them rent money. Every drive to the rim feels like a new episode of How Much Damage Can We Do before the ref blows the whistle. Spoiler. Way too much. And she's not alone. You could practically hear the commissioner's office groan. Well, that's one less star we actually have to promote. Then, to make matters worse, Angel Reese decided she was done mid-season. In most sports, that's shocking. In the WNBA, it feels more like a statement about how dysfunctional things have become, because honestly, if your leadership can't keep the ship afloat, the refs look like they're practicing for clown school, and injuries pile up like laundry on a college. Students' floor? Why wouldn't someone just walk away? Reese probably figured she'd rather rack up brand deals on Instagram than risk another night of getting body slammed like she's trying out for the NFL.
That's not a trend that the WNBA is excited about. That's a trend that Kathy Engelbert would say, hey, Fever, hey, Lynn Dunn, hey, Kelly, hey, Amber, can you guys start dangling that Caitlin Clark return like you used to do? You know, before Caitlin Clark gave a statement and you guys were hands off? Can you guys, just string them along a little bit more? We want to get these ratings back up. We want to get these numbers back.
And here's the kicker. None of this is happening in isolation. The WNBA has been begging for years to be taken seriously, to get prime coverage, to stop being treated like a novelty act, but the league itself keeps tripping over its own feet. The commissioner treats player safety like it's a radical concept no one's thought of before. Fans actually tuned in early, curious if the hype was legit. Those pre-injury Clark games felt golden. Suddenly, ESPN pretended to care. Highlights actually hit SportsCenter. Twitter users suddenly acted like they understood what a pick and roll was. But the second Clark was out, ratings plummeted faster than Angel Reese's patience for sticking around this season. It's almost like the league built its entire marketing campaign around one player and its officiating plan around let her get punched in the face. Some diehards will say this is just bad luck, but no, it's bad management. The commissioner has been sitting on the sidelines like a substitute teacher with zero control of the classroom. Instead of solving problems, the league doubled down on pretending they don't exist. Stars walking away? No big deal. Games unwatchable thanks to refs. Don't worry, fans will stay loyal. Spoiler alert, they didn't.
At Indiana, against the Chicago Sky, right after that game, they opened an investigation once again into the fans, where they found nothing, but the damage had already been done at that point. If some of these things happen just one time here and there, or there's one certain media personality who's just always saying these kind of things, then whatever. I feel like fans as a whole can be like, okay, whatever, this person is just a hater. But this is something that has happened over and over and over again. And over time, it starts chipping away at how much you're going to actually care and want to support an organization if they continue to do things like that.
And for the one still standing, the product on the floor barely resembles basketball. Half the time, it looks like a mashup between rugby and pro wrestling. You don't know if you're watching the playoffs or the undercard to SummerSlam. Any moment you expect a folding chair to come flying across the court. Meanwhile, the commissioner keeps doing interviews about growth and momentum. Sure, and I'm growing an inch every time I wear platform shoes. Calling this year, growth is like calling a house fire a new type of interior design. It's delusion at its finest. The players left are giving everything, even while the structure around them falls apart. Well, they don't deserve refs who blow whistles like they're running a kid's birthday party. They don't deserve leadership that treats their health like a side quest. They don't deserve a league that markets them only when it's convenient and drops them the second things get messy. But here we are, the WNBA season hobbling toward the finish line, ratings in freefall, stars shelved, and fans shaking their heads wondering if the league can survive another cycle like this. If this was supposed to be a breakthrough year, then congratulations. It broke all right, just not in the way anyone hoped.